Hello all, today we are going to discuss the element of delegation from the chapter organizing, right? This is very important things from the perspective of case studies, because what happens, most of the students know the definition of elements, but they are not able to understand the difference between three terms, and that is why they are not able to solve the case studies which are coming into nowadays in the question papers, right? So the first thing we have to understand, what are the elements of delegation. So we have three elements of delegation. The first is authority. The second one is responsibility. And the third one is accountability. This seems very phonetically, this seems very simple and very synonyms kind of word, but they have their different meaning altogether. So what is authority? Authority is the right to give order to subordinate. So when you are able to control your subordinates, you have been given that power. So that power is called right to give order to subordinates, to any kind of work which needs to be done by your subordinates. So you can give order to your subordinates to do that work in a particular way or in a particular turnaround time. So that right of the manager is called authority, right? That means you have power to give order to different subordinates to do work according to your requirement or the organization requirement. That is called authority. Now, what exactly is authority, we have to understand from the different perspective. So authority is power. This is power to control subordinates, right? You can control your subordinates. Right to give order. Order to subordinates. Right to give order to subordinates. You have power to give order to your subordinate. The work needs to be performed in a certain way, whatever way you like, right, according to the policy of the organization. Power sometimes can have negative effect as well. When it happens when you are giving authority more than responsibility. The authority and the responsibility always goes together in harmony. So whenever there is more power, that principle of management is not followed, then obviously you will have the negative impact. Then the flow of authority happens from top to bottom, right? Some of the power is delegated to mid-management gives some of the powers to the operation management. So this is the way the flow of authority is from top to bottom. This is always from top to bottom, and this is being done, this happens because of delegation and formal organization. Because in the formal organization you can delegate your authority. At the same time, whenever the delegation is done, so you are giving work to your subordinate. At the same time, you have to give some of the power to get that work done. So that is called authority, right? So this is your authority. Now we have to understand what the responsibility is. The responsibility is an obligation to perform a certain task within time, that is stipulated time, and method, whatever the method has been suggested to you, that method you have to use, right? So responsibility is the obligation to perform a certain task within time and by the method that has been suggested by the top manager or the managerial hierarchy. So whomsoever has given you the task that has to be performed within the time and with the method that has been suggested to you, that is called responsibility. That means you are answerable to your supervisor, whomsoever has been given the work to you. You have to give answer whether the work has been done or not, why the work has not been done, why the work is not been done according to the requirement. So whatever questions, if you are not able to perform that task, the work can be anything, right? It can be physical work, it can be mental work, right? It can be anything. Let's suppose they are giving you some kind of work that is related to planning. So you have to think the different method, different way of planning how to do the work, or who should going to do that, or what time we have to, what are the objectives. So that is totally work related to your mental abilities. And there are physical work as well, how much output you are going to produce. So these are the things you have to be physical in that particular work. Now, how responsibility is being done? Whenever delegation is done, you get the responsibility. That means the work is given to you, right? Second thing, so whenever the flow is always from bottom to top. What happens? Because your managing director is not answerable to the foreman of that particular factory, right? So it is other way around. Your operation managers would be responsible for the different kind of manager, line manager, departmental manager. Your department manager will be responsible or answerable to your top manager. So this is the way how things are. Employee are responsible to foreman or supervisor. Supervisor will report to assistant manager, manager. Then manager will report to your sales manager, purchase manager. Purchase manager will report to the top level manager like VP, AVP, or board of directors, etc. So this is the flow, right? So the responsibility, so whenever delegation is happening, the flow is from bottom to top. And responsibility means you have to perform certain task in turnaround time and in the method, or by the method suggested. So this is your responsibilities, right? Now we have to understand what is accountability. Accountability is the answerability to superior for the final outcome of task delegated. if you have been delegated any kind of task, let's say Mr. A, I'm giving here example, Mr. A is CFO, right? So CFO is totally related to all the financial work, whether it is being reconciliation, whether it is being preparation of financial account, whether it is related to banks, raising of money, that is falls under finance, and whether it is cash management or financial management, whether it is related to accounting work, preparation of accounts, journal, ledgers, balance sheet, cash flow statement, right, trading account, or whether it is related to your taxation work. So any kind of work that falls under the category of finance and accounts, the CFO will be held responsible for that, right? So CFO has given or delegated his work to Mr. B, right, who is also a chartered accountant, and he has given a certain task, right? Let's say to file GST return GST return needs to be filed, right? So the answerability of B to Mr. A, that is falls under the category of responsibility. That means B is responsible to A to perform that particular task, because A has delegated the task and certain power must have been given to him. But the final outcome, whatever happened, whether it has been submitted, whether it is submitted wrongly, whether it is not submitted in time, and you have been fined by the CBDT. So what happens? Not only B will responsible to A, the A has the final answerability to the top managers. They are not going to come to Mr. B. They will ask Mr. CFO why the return has not been filed, or why it is not filed in time, or why some kind of fine has been levied by the CBDT to the company or the organization. So final answerability of that particular task is to Mr. A. So that answerability to the final outcome to the supervisors or your managers is the related to the final outcome is called accountability. So accountability is the situation in which the manager who is actually responsible to get the work done would be answerable to the final outcome of that particular task to the senior managers, not that person who is actually doing that. That person who is actually doing that will be held responsible for the person who is answering to the top manager. So here B will responsible to A, and A will have the final accountability regarding the GST return. So this is called accountability, and accountability you cannot delegate at all. Responsibility to some extent you can delegate. You have given the responsibility to Mr. B to submit the GST return, but you cannot run away from the answerability to the top managers for the final outcome. That is called accountability. Now we are going to understand the differences, right? So the meaning I have already given to you. Meaning is power to give order or command to subordinates. That is called authority. Responsibility is obligation to perform a certain task. It can be mental, it can be physical. Accountability, answerability to supervisor for final outcome of tasks. जो भी whatever the work has been given to you, whatever the final outcomes comes out, that you will be held responsible for that, even if you have delegated the task according to the organization's policy to your lower managers, but final accountability will be yours. Flow, authority, top to bottom. Responsibility, bottom to top, and accountability always bottom to top, right? Generation, how they generated, because of delegation the authority comes into picture. Whenever you are delegating some of the tasks to your subordinates, obviously you have to give certain power as well, so that power is called authority. Responsibility, whenever any task assigned. Now for responsibility you need not be given the power as well, right? If somebody says okay, you need to submit that particular return, so that return might or do the reconciliation work your own, right? And you can do that your own. So if the reconciliation has been given, that is the task given to you, so no need to give the orders to the other. You will be given the bank statement as well as the cash book, so you will be preparing the bank reconciliation. So that time you need not given the power. So whenever the task is assigned, your responsibility comes for your supervisor. And accountability whenever delegation is done, so any work needs to be done, you have accountability for that, right? If you are a CFO, if you are a sales manager, if you are a purchase manager, for purchasing each and everything, you have the final accountability, why this is being done, why this is not being done. So these are the different aspects of the authority, responsibility, and the accountability. I hope you would be able to understand, and whenever the question has been given, if the question is being asked in your examination straight away, what are the elements of the delegation, what is delegation, and explain the elements of delegation. So simply you can write the definition and you can give the different features or different aspects of these all three elements. But whenever the case studies is given, right, so what is the authority here, what is the responsibility, or whose responsibility and who's having the authority or who is having the accountability, in that particular scenario you need to know what is authority, what is the responsibility, what is accountability, who has given the task, right? First, who has been given the task and who has delegated. Let's say A has given the task by the top manager, and he is given the different work to the different people. So all those different people will be responsible for Mr. A, but A will have the final accountability, right? Responsibility, all those people who have been given the task. And authority has been given by the top manager to Mr. A, and Mr. A has given some of the power to the different people to perform certain tasks. So whatever the authority has been given to give order to certain people, that falls under the category of authority. So you have to find out, go through the case studies, and you have to find out who is giving or who has given the work actually, and who is dividing the work among the different people, and who has given the different power to give order or command the subordinates. On the basis of that you will judge the case studies, and on the basis of that you will attempt the case studies, right? I hope this is clear now, crystal clear now, what is authority, what is responsibility, and what is accountability, right? The three dimension of your delegation. And this is very important when the decentralization and delegation and the elements of the delegation you need to understand. Let me tell you one thing, this chapter is very important. You will have the case studies, because nowadays you will have case studies more. So please be prepared, because case studies can only be solved when you are able to understand the core concept of that particular thing, right? So this is it. I hope you would have understood. If not, please place your comments. Whatever you have not understood, I will definitely revert to you. Thank you very much.